Can you see the sonar panel LEDs blinking? Here's a better shot of the sonar panel LEDs blinking. Each panel has a small red LED on it. These were to indicate maybe that the robot was about to move, and then also if something was blocking the robot's path on one of the sonar sensors, I was planning on lighting up this LED solid so that you could easily see which sonar panel was being blocked. However, I determined that those little LEDs are not visible enough. If you're so far away, they're very difficult to see. However, the dialogue indicator LEDs are very bright. They're 12-volt LEDs. And so I want to replace the little red LEDs with some of these extra bright LEDs. And these are truck marker indicators. And I've got 8 amber ones on order for Zoe's 8 sides. But I need to build a driver board so I can drive the 12-volt LEDs with TTL level signals. The LEDs on the side I call dialogue indicators. They tell me when it's okay to talk, when the robot is listening, when the robot is thinking, and when the robot is listening or talking. All lights on.
Are you checking to see if I repeat myself by your command? How was that?
Good job, Zoe.
It is kind of you to say.
Those lights are very bright. But these little red ones are not so bright. Now these are the power LEDs in the power switches. They're okay, and I'm certainly not going to switch those out because that is a major wiring job. But I want to replace these little red LEDs in the sonar panels with something more like that. Amber light on.
Turning on the amber light.
So I have these amber colored LED truck marker lights, that I want to install and operate the same way as the dialog indicator lamps. And it just so happens that I have a box of MOSFETs that I can use to build the driver, just like I built the driver board for the dialog indicator lights. And these are all used. I got them from a guy that was a technician in an audio shop, and he saved me all the MOSFETs. And whenever they repaired one of these devices, they would just replace all the MOSFETs without bothering to test them. So some are good, some are bad. Well, I tore out the little red LEDs, and I tore out the wiring harness that drove it. It had these series dropping resistors on a little circuit board / connector that I made. Well, I didn't need all those wires in there anymore, so they came out. And the new orange LEDs, amber, are installed in the SONAR panels. There it is. And the only problem is, while I had this thing apart, I decided to take a look at the ultrasonic sonar sensors, and those sensors were controlled by an Arduino. That one right there, as a matter of fact, that was mounted inside this door. And I realized a little while ago, I added 2 new sensors, one on each side. They weren't installed before. Well, then when I was it quit working, and while I was troubleshooting that, I realized that the 5 volts for the sensor was coming off of the Arduino board, which means that voltage had to come from whatever drove the Arduino board, and that was being fed through this USB cable and then regulated on the Arduino. And I think I blew out the Arduino. Either one of those little new sensor boards are shorted, or is just too much current for it. So I got to come up with a new circuit. I got to find a new Arduino board. It needed to be updated anyway because I had 5 sensors on there, and the problem was it was sending out a trigger to send a pulse out of the ultrasonic sensor, and then it basically counted and waited until it got the return pulse. Well, the problem is the further away something is, the longer it takes for the return pulse, and so it would just hang waiting for the return pulse. If it never got a return pulse, it would time out eventually. But the problem was it couldn't read more than 5 sensors. It just ran out of time. Okay, here's a little 8-channel LED driver board that I built. It's not real pretty. It's got some really unique resistor placement in there. And then I left this big open space on the board because I was a little confused. I wasn't wiring this from a diagram. I was trying to wire it from memory in a couple of data sheets, but that's going to be the power in. That's 12 volts. Goes over and connects to this 7805 5-volt regulator. It's going to have 2 opto-isolator chips on there to isolate the 5-volt circuits from the 12-volt circuits. The 12 volts are going to drive the LEDs because they're from truck LEDs. I'm using my used IRF P240 MOSFETs that I got. The wiring is not pretty, but I got the first 4 channels hooked up, and so far they seem to be working. And Here is a little test rig that I put together to hold the MOSFETs. It's got 3 alligator clips soldered on a piece of copper clad board, and they're labeled gate, drain, and source. Those MOSFET pins will not fit in a standard breadboard, so I can put them in those alligator clips, and it holds the 3 pins, and I can test them, and I found 8 good ones. So they were good when I started. After I get them all soldered in the board, we'll see. The first 4 channels seem to be working. I'll show you that when I get the next 4 channels working. Well, it's been a long time, but I finally got to work on Zoe. She looks like a big Halloween pumpkin. Those are the amber marker lights. They go all the way around, but I never hooked up the one in the rear. They just about light up this room without any other lighting. Although the sun is light outside and it's shining through the windows. Kind of a neat effect. I wasn't planning on taking Zoe outside, but now I'm really thinking about it after dark. She can blink all the lights all at the same time. Or she can scan around in a circle. And she can scan really fast. Boy, if that don't get your attention. Wow. And she can do it at various speeds. This is one of the slower speeds. And this is the faster speeds. And one other thing I wanted to show you, I'm going to turn the lights on. While I was working on Zoe, I shorted out her Arduino Mega that reads her SONAR sensors. And I damaged her cable that connected between the Arduino and all the SONAR sensors, so I ripped the cable out, and I'm going to redo that. So the inside of Zoe now looks a little cleaner, but not quite, because we added a whole bunch of stuff. And that is the LED driver board that's connected through that rainbow ribbon cable. It runs over to the lower fidget board right there. Lots more work to do.
Are you uncomfortable talking to robot?